All right, thank you so much. We'll call to order the Bond Oversight Committee meeting on January 20th at 11:31 a.m. So we will start with a roll call. I'm Gina Blackman-Taylor, the chair. I'm here. Christian Young, I was practicing this. Jin Kalyani.
Thank you, perfecto.
Thank you. Al Lopez.
Present.
Thank you. Sally Acorn.
Here.
Thank you. Jessica Allen.
Here.
Thank you. David Flatt.
Present.
Thank you, David. David Flippo. Absent. Margarita Gamboa Harris.
Present.
Thank you. Byron Goins.
Present remotely.
Thank you. Hello. Rob Gertison, such timing. Present. James Halsey.
Present.
Thank you. Nakia Jackson Hill.
Present.
Thank you. Walter Jones. Steven Silberkraus.
Present.
Oh, online. Thank you. And Yvette Williams. All right, and Emily Stevens, our liaison for the moment, until we hear otherwise, and not here. All right. We have a quorum, so we will be moving on. So we will go to item number 1, our flag salute. I've asked Mr. Halsey to lead our flag salute today. Thank you. Please stand. Thank you so much. Now we will also move on to 1.02, adoption of the agenda. Do we have any comments on that? Do we have any public comment on that? We do not. All right. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
This is Chris. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Chris. Do I have a second?
Rob Curtis in a second.
Thank you, Rob. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 2.01, the approval of the minutes. I will allow, well, they're short. I'll give a minute to take a quick look if you didn't have a chance to look at it ahead of time. Do we have any public comment about the agenda? I'm sorry, the minutes, Valerie? Joanna, is there any public comment about the minutes? Okay. Oh, okay, let the record reflect that Ms. Williams has joined us online. Hi, Yvette, welcome.
Madam Chair, if there's no changes, I would recommend approval of the minutes.
All right,
November
Chris's
18th.
motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second Al Lopez, second.
Thank you, Al. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, fantastic. Moving on to 2.02, reports by chair and/or liaison representatives. My report, just very briefly, on scheduling, there will be we will be canceling the February Bond Oversight Committee meeting. Brandon is still on maternity leave. Congratulations to Brandon and his family. Paternity leave, paternity leave. And without him being here, some of the policies that we wanted to discuss would be better put off until after that. However, in its place, on March 4th, it's a Wednesday, March 4th, at 4 p.m. Bond Oversight Committee has been invited to participate in a joint working meeting with AZAC and the Board of School Trustees on the facility master planning. So please make a note of that in your calendar. No meeting in February. March 4th, a joint meeting on Wednesday, and then we will maintain our regularly scheduled March meeting to catch up on specific Bond Oversight Committee business outside of the facility master plan. So that is the chair report. Let us move on to our liaison representatives, Al Lopez and construction.
For the record, Al Lopez, I do not have anything to report at this current time for construction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Rob Gerdison for design.
Good morning, everybody. Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gerdison. Mr. Flatt for site selection land use.
Ditto, nothing to report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flatt. We have David Flippo still is not here. Yvette Williams for community relations. Yvette, we're not hearing you if you are speaking. Oh, there she is.
There we go. Can you hear
Now
me now?
we can hear you. Yes, thank you, Ms. Williams.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted and then I looked up and realized I didn't. Apologies. Good morning, everyone. Could I first, I don't know if Trustee Stevenson's is here?
No,
She is not present unless
Oh,
she's
okay. I
joined
wanted to-
online.
don't suck.
I just wanted to congratulate her on her new role as board trustee president. So anyway, on the record, it's there. I have a brief update. I did meet with our consultants and Brandon. Gosh, that was October, so it goes some time ago. The plan, they are working on their new schedule. They have pushed it back a little bit based on those conversations that we all had at our last meeting. Well, I should say the meeting before, because I wasn't at the last meeting, but then also during our joint meeting. And so those things were taken under consideration. So there should be a new schedule coming out for community that I'll be participating in and working more closely with making sure that we're getting that message out. One of the things in the action items in our meeting was around what community organizations are the subcontractors inviting or making aware of these community meetings so that we can have build better capacity. And so they had asked if I would provide them with a list. I'd like to ask all of you to please let me know, unless Valerie, you have a different way, or Madam Chair, if you have a different way that you'd like me to handle that. But if you all can just let me know if there's any organizations that you may belong to or that you know of that should be on that list, to please provide that to me so that I can provide them with as thorough a list as possible to make sure that we're getting the message out to all of our community organizations and all of those active individuals, advocates that are in our community that we all know that are passionate and interested in education issues. So with that, I think that concludes my report. And Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. Curious, when you chatted, was there, did it come up in conversation of a public way for organizations to reach out to inquire about being a part of these conversations?
No, I think it's the intention is to just take a proactive approach. The consultants taking a proactive approach to making sure that the list that they're working with is more complete, so that they're getting notification rather than the organizations or advocates in the community are not having the responsibility, having to reach out to them to get that information.
I'm thinking less of the responsibility as more, I'm thinking of access in terms of. Sorry, Christy has a question.
So
Okay.
maybe, I know the district has 8 meetings, I think, set up for the DREAM communication survey that they're doing. Then they'll have actual community meetings that you can sign up for now. So
Yeah.
maybe that, I don't know if people are aware of that, but maybe that might be a place to loop them in, because I don't think they're restricted as to what they're asking the community to talk about. So maybe we just can elaborate that school construction or school size or whatever could and should be incorporated in that outreach that they're doing publicly, so we're not reinventing anything, but that might be another place to access individuals' thought processes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely that it would be helpful. My thoughts, it would be helpful just from an informational standpoint, that, an opportunity to inform people of these upcoming meetings around facilities. I think, though, that the meetings that we are having around DREAM is so, I want to put this, because I've had conversations around that as well. I think there's a lot to discuss around that plan as opposed to our facilities. I just hope that the time that we spend on facilities or the plan for facilities gets the full attention that it needs. And I don't know that it would get that at those meetings, because it seems that those meetings are more geared toward instruction policy.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Yvette. So,
No,
but the
yeah.
thought process is don't reject anybody if they show up in the audience
Oh,
and
yeah.
they say, I want to talk about facilities or the school,
Yeah.
or are you closing this or whatnot?
Yeah.
That will be incorporated and at least reported back to
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
it's not restrictive to just instruction or teacher training or any of
Yeah.
that. So it's a
Yeah.
wide open forum as far as my understanding is. So
Yeah. I would hate for it to get dominated though by facilities when we have so
I
many
only
needs.
wish.
When we have so many needs around instruction and access to equity education. So I'd hate to get that derailed, but I hear your point, and I will make sure that I communicate that as well. And I know that we're going to be pushing within our organizations and our contacts and those in our landscape around those upcoming meetings next month. So, but going to your point, I think it's a good idea, and I'll actually suggest that they share that list, because I know that they're working for, it's a different group of people, and that certainly they can share that list with the consultants around facilities.
And then what I would propose in terms of keeping some of that information public is that at that joint meeting, that we have that be a part of the conversation about what organizations they have reached out to.
Good idea, because that definitely was a question I asked, but they weren't willing to share that with me, so I can't answer. I'd love to answer, because that was something I was really pushing for, is to get a list so that we can just kind of go through and do a kind of a check off and see where we have the holes and assist them in that area, but that wasn't an option available.
Well, given the Board of School Trustees' interest in that matter, I think that'll be a relevant topic for the work group.
Okay.
Especially because that will be, the bigger community push will be post that work group meeting, from my understanding.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Yvette. Anything else?
Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. All right, we'll move on to 2.03. Have we been joined by Trustee Stevens or any representative from Board of School Trustees? All right, thank you so much. We'll move on from 2.03. 2.04, this is possible presentation and discussion of reports with Rick Baldwin. So what do you have for us today?
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Rick Baldwin for the record, Director of Comprehensive Planning for CCSD. And this morning, the acting role of Brandon McLaughlin while he's out. This morning for reports, you were previously asked to get a brief report on AZAC's recommendations. This morning, AZAC made their final recommendations to the school board. They approved their final recommendations to the school board. Those will be taken presented to the superintendent of schools, and then brought onto the Board of School Trustees later in, I believe, February or March. Just for record, AZAC recommended all three of their recommendations. There's a zone change at middle school, which takes a group of students from Canarelli Middle School to Fess Middle School. This is to realign feeder alignment between the elementary schools and the middle schools in that area. And that's a zone change at the elementary level that was completed last year. Second recommendation, there is two areas actually. One area that takes a group of students from Sierra Vista High School to Durango High School, once again realigning those middle to high school feeder alignments in this case. There's also a small section that brings an area from, recommends to bring an area from Durango High School to Sierra Vista High School. Once again, that is to create that feeder, middle to high school feeder alignment in that area, as well as provide Sierra Vista a little bit of relief to that school where Durango has space available. The third recommendation area has two different areas. This is between high schools. Area A looks at reassigning an area from Foothill High School to Green Valley High School. Once again, this is to create feeder school alignment between middle school and the high schools in this area. And then Area B, also feeder alignment, would move students, small group of students from Basic High School to Foothill High School in that area. So those are the three recommendations that AZEC voted on this morning and will forward to the superintendent of schools and on to the Board of School Trustees for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Waldman. Let the record reflect that we were joined by Mr. Flippo. Welcome. And does that conclude your reports, Mr. Baldwin? Are there any, I mean, I appreciate that information. It's not, it is, there's not a facilities question there so much as in terms of capacity and how that affects sort of that facility master planning project. But while we're here, does anyone have any questions regarding that? Okay, seeing none, we will conclude 2.04.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, I have my hand up.
Oh.
I don't know if you see it.
Oh, no, I cannot see it.
Okay.
Yes, Yvette.
I just have a quick question. Could you provide us with a little bit more detail? I'm interested in what those numbers look like that where we saw a shift in student population.
In which area specifically, Ms. Williams?
I'm
all of
interested
them?
in all of them.
Okay.
I'm curious as to how many students left Durango and went to Sierra Vista, vice versa, or Foothill to Green Valley.
So, all right, so going back to the middle school change between Canarelli Middle School and Fest Middle School, it's a geographic area, and there are 72 middle school students in total that reside within that area. All three of these recommendations are made with grandfathering, so no student that's currently enrolled at the school will be reassigned. It's only the incoming grade levels coming into that school. So in this case, next year's sixth grade students. So 72 in the middle school from Canarelli to Fest Middle School. Sierra Vista, the area A, moving from Sierra Vista High School to Durango High School. There are 160 total students residing within this area being reassigned from Sierra Vista to Durango High School. And then Area B, that does move students from Durango to Sierra Vista, there are 14 total students in that area moving from Durango to Sierra Vista. And then the Foothill to Green Valley area, there are a total of 213 students in Area A being reassigned from Foothill to Green Valley High School, or recommended to be reassigned. And then Area B, there are a total of 54 students recommended to be reassigned from Basic High School to Foothill High School. Once again, creating that feeder school alignment and as well grandfathering for all of those. So no student that's currently enrolled in any of those schools is being forced to move.
So that was going to be my next question. Would these all be incoming freshmen? Or are we disrupting some of those students who may be juniors, for example, or wanting to spend their senior year at their school that they've been at for 3 years?
That is what, maybe because of the online, it was hard to hear Mr. Baldwin. But yeah, he did say that every program would be grandfathered in, so that nobody that was on their at that school would be changed over.
Okay, so these would be all freshmen coming
Correct.
in.
All well, and in the middle school case, incoming sixth graders.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotcha. Okay, thank you. I did miss that. So thank you for that. Thank you.
Problem. Thank you. All right, well, are there any further questions, Mr. Baldwin? Well, with 2.04 closed, I would like to go back very quickly to 2.03 and ask Mr. Flippo if he had any report from finance or investment.
Nothing to report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Flippo. Moving on now from 2.03 to 2.05, 2015 Capital Improvement Program financial status. Mr. Fouts, please.
Good afternoon. Rodney Fouts for the record. We have no changes in our resources. We're still at $4.4 billion. However, we have started the next process of going out and issuing another $200 million in new money. That process, I believe, will close in March. As far as our life-to-date expenditures, we're just over $4 billion. We have $423 million still encumbered. We have a total with those two items of being at just under $4.5 billion as far as total expenditures and encumbrances. Currently, we have a $368 million cash flow However, again, as I state, normally is when we add in those encumbrances, we would be 55 million in the hole. That's obviously why we go out and try and stay ahead of this and issue the next round of our $200 million.
Thank you, Mr. Fouts. Do we have any questions for Mr. Fouts? Chris?
Thank you. So it's 200 on the first, and the second will be the 400,000?
No, we issued 400 million already, and we
Got
have
it.
the 200 million that's coming up this.
That'll come up on the other one. Okay. Thank you.
It's obviously confusing because of our fiscal year. We have to split those two amounts basically over a 25 and 26 calendar
Yeah,
year.
I remember when I opposed it on the Lundy thing, and it was 600 million total, but it was going to be staggered. I just couldn't remember exactly what you were doing. Okay, thank you.
Further questions online? Just, I'm trying to see. I don't see a raised hand. Anyone else on the panel? All right. Thank you, Mr. Fouts. We will move on to 2.06, 2015 Capital Improvement Program Summary Status. And this we get to hear from Mr. Chesnick. Hi, good morning.
Hi. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Bond Oversight Committee. For the record, Josh Chesnick, Director, Design Management. Just wanted to give a Capital Improvement Program, CIP, summary status of what we have currently in construction, as well as what we have on the books in design for upcoming construction. So with regard to our replacement schools, we have Von Tobel Middle School, which is being replaced. It's being replaced on a site down the street from the existing school. So at the end of this school year, that school will move into this new facility. It has a student capacity of 1,250 students. The project architect, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects. Core Construction is the contractor. And the project budget is $128,610,000. Another one of our replacement schools, Helen Marie Smith Elementary School. Student capacity is 638 students. Ethos 3 is our architect on this. It's one of our prototypes, similar to what we opened this last year with Hancock Elementary School. The contractor is Sletton Construction of Nevada. And the project budget for this project replacement school was $71,157,000. Another replacement elementary school, again of the same prototype as Smith we just looked at. Student capacity is 638. Wengert Elementary School, same architect, Ethos 3, same contractor, Sletton Construction of Nevada. And our project budget for this one was $71,214,000. We are also continuing in our phased replacement of Las Vegas Academy. We're in phase 2A. This is a replacement of the student union building. We had to replace a couple of buildings, and we're again standing up a brand new student union. Not sure how to answer this question. The student capacity is 490, but that's more. The school is more than that. I think this is what the addition brings to the school. Correct? Okay. Simpson Coulter Studio, the architect. Penta Building Group is our contractor. And with a project budget for this phase of the project, $128,879,000. So those are our brand new schools that we're opening for this school year coming up. We get into some of our projects in design, starting with our Matt Kelly Elementary School. It's currently in design. Has a student capacity of 410 students. Working with KME Architects on this project and Core Construction, our project contractor. The project budget is $76,267,000. And this will be replaced on the same site. So at the end of this school year, those students will be moved while construction begins on this new school. Also, the Helen J. Stewart Elementary School. This is being designed, again, also on the same campus, just down the street here at Eastern and Flamingo. 200 student capacity for that school. KGA Architects is our architect on this, and Sletton Construction Nevada is our CMAR construction partner. Current project budget, $86,812,000. We are developing a new elementary school up in the Northeast. This will be our first, I guess, brand new elementary school for this year. Student capacity for this one's higher than the others. It's 850 students. This is a new elementary school located in the Sky Canyon area. This will help us with growth out there and also relieve Divich Elementary School. Project architect, Ethos 3. So again, the same prototype that we've been using for this year with Smith and Wengert. This one is a little bit larger to accommodate that student population. Martin Harris is our construction contractor, and the project budget is $92,881,000. Currently in design as well, Indian Springs Junior Senior High School. Student capacity, 461 students. We have George M. Rogers as our architect on this project, and Martin Harris Construction, our contractor. Project budget, $99,081,000. We have a series of middle schools here that are all replacement middle schools. This one, Jim Bridger Middle School. This replacement would give us a student capacity of 1,250 students. Simpson Coulter is our architect. Simpson Coulter Studio. Core Construction, our CMAR partner on this, and our project budget, $139,362,000. Robert O. Gibson, again, the same prototype model as we just saw with Bridger, 1,250 student capacity. Also Simpson Coulter Studio. This one is Martin Harris Construction, and the project budget, $144,160,000. Cashman Middle School, a little bit larger capacity, 1,500 students. Also with Simpson Coulter Studio, Whiting Turner Contracting Company, our contractor, and with a project budget of $147,206,000. And lastly, Malin Brown Junior High School. This is the prototype that we've been developing. We've built 4 of these now, with Von Tobel being one of those, and the 3 that we opened last year. 1,250 student capacity, Carpenter Sellers Delgado Architects, and Core Construction is the contractor on this project. This one has a project budget of $126,635,000. Moving on to our major and comprehensive modernization projects. We start with Basic High School. We're doing a cafeteria addition. This is kind of an aerial photo that shows that courtyard and some of the addition to the cafeteria at that school. Student capacity at Basic, I guess short of what Rick just said, 2,117 students. Used to the million numbers I'm rolling here. Knit Architecture, the project architect, and Roach Constructors, our project contractor. The budget for this project was $11,698 million. We're doing a comprehensive modernization at Silvestri Junior High School. This project's been going for about a year now. We're continuing on that. Again, the capacity at Silvestri, 1,579. PGAL is our architect. Boyd Martin Construction LLC is our contractor, and the project budget was $47,883,000. These comprehensive modernizations, we're going through and upgrading all the major systems, mechanical, plumbing, electrical, roofing, paint, carpet, VC, so that theoretically when we leave, we have a school that's refreshed for the next 20 years. Similarly, West Prep Preparatory Institute. Has student capacity 1,561. PGAL, also the architect on this one, and Boyd Martin, also the contractor on this one, with a project budget of $51,536,000. Thurman White, a little bit older than those two, but also doing a modernization at this school. 1,459 student capacity. LGA is our architect, and AF Construction Company, our contractor. Budget for this one, $55,767,000. Swainston Middle School, again, 1,476, LGA Architecture and AF Construction. So I think we packaged some of these together with a similar architect and similar contractor. This one had a project budget of $58,562,000. Cheyenne High School, we're doing modernization there as well. Student capacity 2,486. Vetalago Pesh Architects is our architect, and Martin Harris Construction, our contractor. The project budget for this modernization, $92,884,000. So with that, that's currently what's in design and construction that we're working on right now. And any questions or comments?
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Halsey.
Madam Chairwoman, I had a question.
So, sorry, Byron, just a second. I have Mr. Halsey first, and then I'll go to you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Josh, just, you mentioned 2 that were CMARs. Is that the only CMARs on there, or were there more?
Yeah, my apologies. Yeah. I'd have to go back through, let's see. There were several of these CMAR, some of them were hard bid. So our Von Tobel was CMAR, Helen Smith was CMAR, Wingert CMAR. The majority of these are CMAR. Vegas Academy was a CMAR. Matt Kelly was also CMAR. Stewart CMAR.
So have they
basically
all
the-
broke ground at all, or they've all, or you said some were construction and design,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah, so Von Tobel Middle School and Helen Marie Smith Elementary. So the first ones that in the slide presentation, Smith, Wangert, and Vegas Academy, they're all under construction currently. The next round that we're in design were Matt Kelly and Sky Canyon are looking to start construction this summer.
but you've already picked the general contractor?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they've been selected.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Goins?
Yes, on slide number 8, Matt Kelly, I was just wondering, I know there's going to be some relocation of those students. How does that process go, and what schools are they relocated to while this one's being built?
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Mr. Goins. So we set several years ago, and we've done this type of replacement at several different schools over the years now. We set up a portable campus, so those students will be housed at the former Ruth Fife Elementary School campus. Those students will be bused to that Ruth Fife campus for that year during construction.
Okay. Thank you. My dad used to be principal at Ruth Fife. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Goins. Yvette, do I see your hand up? I can't tell. Now it is. Ms. Williams, you had a question?
Yeah, I apologize. I was waiting for everyone else to get in their questions. So I noticed on Sky, the population is much higher, it's practically double what most of our elementaries are. So is that because the population around that school, the growth of that community, and I know there's been a lot of growth, or are we asking students to bus from further away as elementary students? Are they busing? I guess that's my question. Are we looking to build less schools and then bus kids further away? I mean, and make larger campuses? I mean, what is the thought on that? Or is that simply just the growth, reflective of the growth of the community out there?
Mr. Baldwin.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Williams, yes, this is definitely reflective of the growth. This is in the far northwest part of the valley. Substantial growth and future growth plans of future large-scale master plan communities coming in. So when we have this opportunity, we are always looking forward and trying to plan for the future and be able to capture that growth, the anticipated growth from those homes that are currently planned in that area.
My next question goes to some of the conversations we've had over the past year or two, reflective of how we work with our vendors, in particular our contractors on these projects. I noticed in some of the slides that some of our projects that are in design or are in our future are pretty close to the cost of what some of our previous schools cost us that you're finishing up. So I guess that's a good thing, and congratulations on being able to accomplish that. But I guess my question is have some of those strategies changed in the way that you are soliciting these contracts, or are contractors working more closely with us to help us be more successful around these builds? So can you kind of give some thoughts around that? And maybe this is something that we have to ask Brandon when he comes back, but it's something that I'm just curious as to outcomes of some of those suggestions and ideas that were kind of thrown out there over the past year or two around controlling our costs.
Mr. Chesnick.
Madam Chair, members of the Bond Oversight Committee, Yvette, Ms. Williams, if I understood your question correctly, you're asking about our contracted the contractors that are building these schools, correct? And if like, I don't know if it's like lessons learned or something about how we're building these schools and continuing sort of this systematized way of keeping the costs and keeping the construction. Is that
Yeah.
how I'm understanding
Yeah,
that?
we've had, there were lots of conversations around maybe combining bids so that the contractor is working on maybe more than one school at a
Okay.
time. And, though there were different things that were discussed in various meetings over the past couple of years around the costs and the expanding costs and wanting to work with facilities, but also our contractors around how can we make life a little better for us when it comes to fiscal?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I guess to answer the question somewhat, the modernization, for example, these comprehensive modernizations, I'll kind of just take a couple of examples here. Sylvester Junior High School, you see that's our 96 prototype middle school, and then West Prep, also the same prototype model. So hiring the same architect designer on that project, lessons learned between those two, making sure kind of we're keeping consistent. And I believe we also bid those out together. So Boyd Martin was the contractor. Similar example with Thurman White, Swainston Middle School. Those are same prototype, same architect, and same contractor. So those are also bid together. So we just, I guess, look at some of those opportunities and when we can do that. I'm not saying we do that with every project, but if there's an opportunity for us to build in some consistencies into how we design and construct, then we'll take advantage of those.
Thank you. I'm just curious if we're making improvement in that area and maybe what are those best practices and lessons learned, and if we can even improve it even more. So always working towards a new goal line. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. All right, we have down at the end, David.
Well,
I'm sorry, I didn't really.
that's all right. I'll go ahead. No, I was going to ask similar questions about architectural firms. It seems like, we have 3 schools on here, and maybe in the future, we could look at architectural collaboration, right? So, same student population, 1250, but completely different designs. And it seems like, unless there's a reason, maybe this has already been discussed in other boards, that we have different designs for every school. But it seems like there ought to be maybe a more perfect design that, we can just use the same architecture for the same number of students, that kind of thing. I'm assuming you guys look at that.
Yeah, Mr. Flippo. So we, in the course of not only this capital improvement plan, but also the 98 capital improvement plan, we prototyped a lot of our schools. I think a lot of that, Fred can speak to this, it was a lot of kind of rapid delivery, if you will. And you're right, we have pre-qualified architects that we work with, and a lot of those architects have worked with us for quite a long time, so they kind of are very familiar with how we design and what we do. So, depends. Again,
Yeah, I just didn't know if that's being looked at, and,
Yeah.
I assume it is, but, architecture is a big cost of this, They're all about the same price range, so that's good. But those architectural costs, if we could get some efficiencies there, that's all, 3 schools, same student population.
Yeah.
Unless there's a reason we have different designs. for
No,
schools.
and perhaps maybe I'm inferring a question here, but when there's an initial design for a project, there's a percentage of fee that they're charged for those construction projects. But when they recite that same design, the fee changes. So there is an economy there where we don't charge the same full amount for the architectural engineering fees for a recite that we do for a brand new school.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Flippo. Mr. Flatt.
Dave Flatt for the record. On the Ed Von Tobel Middle School that you're moving, what are we going to do with the land that, once it's empty? Do we have plans that we get to sell it for gazillions of dollars?
Mr. Baldwin.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Mr. Flatt, that decision hasn't been determined yet.
Thank you, Mr. Baldwin.
Rodney
Mr.
Fouts for the
Fouts.
record as well. If it's BLM land, we can't sell BLM land. So it has to be our land.
It's BLM.
All right, thank you, Mr. Flat. Ms. Allen.
So I was just looking through and I noticed that the projects that had the higher budget seem to be going to Core or Martin Harris. Is that just coincidental? Like, are other companies for contracting not bidding for those bigger projects, or like maybe there's something I don't understand about it? I'm sorry.
Sure, no. For the record, Josh Chesnick, Ms. Allen, those particular those CMAR projects that we discussed earlier, we have a panel review of those. So they interview for those qualification-based selection. There are, I don't know, I think it might be coincidental more than it is anything. It's not certainly targeted at all. So we put these, for example, Von Tobel, we put that out for interview. We interview CMAR partners, and there may be a handful of partners that we interview, up to 4 or 5. And then through that selection process, then the contractor is selected. So you see like Core, Sletton, Martin Harris, Penta, or some of those firms.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Chris?
Thank you. I have several. Appreciate the presentation. Just a couple of things. On design side, what's our square footage per kid that we look at in here, at least in Southern Mass? Is it 30, 40 square feet?
I mean, I'm
Okay, you can get the answer later.
Not sure.
There's no right or wrong. States are flexible on it.
Yeah.
There's also fire code that enters in and
Oh,
other
sure.
factors that are there. I just was curious if we figure, does it pencil out? Is it a $40 per kid per square foot that comes into
got
your
it.
design?
I mean, that can be calculated, right? I don't know
Right.
that it's necessarily a target calculator. There is the code, right? And that has factors of occupancy
Correct.
on there. Rick, you had something?
Madam Chair, Mr. Giuliani,
Thank you, Mr. Rick. I never even say my name correctly. You did that well.
I've been practicing for years.
Sorry. We need a little levity in the afternoon.
So I can't speak to the specific number. I don't know exactly what that number, I just don't recall it off the top of my head. I know in work with the facility master plan team, I recall that's approximately district-wide about a 100 square feet per student. If I remember correctly. But that's all inclusive
That's
within
all.
the
That's
the entire facility, not
Exactly.
necessarily just
A
within
classroom,
in
and
each
I was
classroom.
thinking more classroom
Correct.
size. That's where the fire code used to come in as far as how many per square foot and so on and so forth.
So I can add to that conversation.
Okay.
So just this last legislative cycle, as part of AB 533, the open enrollment
Concept.
yeah, so the legislature added in a component that in order will change how we calculate capacities. So capacity calculation, as you're stating, the occupancy is 20 square feet per person, but for capacity for students in an educational, instructional space, it's 40 square feet per student in each individual instructional
Okay,
space.
so that was where I was kind of going to go. Does our student capacity number then change going forward?
This
based
will,
on that?
this law will, we're working on those changes now, yes.
Okay.
It's not going to change drastically.
Okay. Do we design for daylighting or natural lighting?
Yeah, Josh Chesnick for the record, yes. We design for all those things, all those environmental factors,
Okay.
right?
So you do the north, south, east, west orientation? if
Best
you
we can with the sites
Yeah,
that we
'cause
have.
It depends on the site,
Sure.
each site is far. Just thinking longer term of resources, energy, heat, and so on and so forth. Are all our schools, or will they all have the capacity to handle solar if at some point solar is required to be on school facility rooftops?
Sure, so all of our new schools, and this is a rendering, but
Yeah.
we are putting solar in our new builds.
Okay.
And we
then-
have for this, I think this program, right? Yeah.
Okay. Then, do we design for community accessibility, open doors, open schools? I know that's supposed to be a component that's there, but are we still incorporating that?
Yeah, so when we design the schools, we make sure that there is community access, but that also that there's security for the students as well. So there's making sure that the school is accessible, but safe and secure during the school day.
During the school day,
Yeah.
but that would not prohibit, because that's always been the debate, is letting groups come in and use the field or whatever. It's their community school, but how do we, so you design so that they can get in and out, but not necessarily have to enter into the rest of the facility?
Sure, yep.
Okay. And then are we looking at repurposing some of the facilities down the road? I'm going to be pushing for childcare and early pre-K to be on all campuses. So as we're repurposing that, there's sites or availability for there. Is that any conversation that's occurring at this point?
Madam Chair, Ms. Jean Kiliani, yes, that's absolutely a conversation and something that we're looking at with the facility master plan.
Okay, great. I had it in a bill in the 90s, but we didn't get very far with it. And then, and this may not be your area. Personally, I think it's time that AZAC and CCSD rezone their kids back to their neighborhood schools and then begin resetting our zoning based on where the kids are living. It's an emotional thing because a lot of people will be changed, but I'm tired of seeing kids bus past schools that they live across the street from just because of the way we do zoning. Do you know if there's been any conversations on anything along those lines? And if not, you may not be the forum. I'll bring it up at the March meeting, but.
Madam Chair, Ms. Jean Kiliani, I think you would have to give me some examples of what you're talking about. I could give a few, but those are such as the Prime 6 area where
Yeah.
those students are zoned, they're actually zoned out of their neighborhoods where they are given an option to remain in their.
Correct.
So,
That was based on the old lawsuit a gazillion years ago.
correct, and that's nearly over 30 years old.
Right. I'm just thinking more, it's what I hear from complaints from parents and kids is, oh, I live right across the street, but my zoning is now over there because when we had the huge growth spurts, we were moving kids out from their neighborhood. And the concept is to bring them back into their own neighborhood school and then begin your zoning out from the new place, if I'm making any kind of common sense
So-
there. And that may not be something that you're dealing with. That's more of a policy concept.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So in speaking specifically to the Prime 6, that is absolutely legal and policy.
Okay.
However, all those students, while they're zoned out, they all have the option to remain at their neighborhood school. Those parents are choosing to.
At the Prime 6
In
kids.
the Prime 6 case.
And not the others. So like if I live down the street from Crestwood, are all the kids that are zoned, normally would have been zoned for Crestwood, do they go to Crestwood? Or are they now, because of capacity 5 years ago, they're bused someplace else? And do we give them an opportunity to come back to their home school?
So in the example of Crestwood, that entire neighborhood is zoned to Crestwood. I mean, obviously, there's major thoroughfares around the
Yeah.
school that would, become.
Restrict a few things.
Restrictive, yeah, boundaries. Also, with open enrollment now, and formerly COSA, we've had for a long time now, opportunities for students to
Go back
select
to their
whichever
home.
school
Okay.
that has space available.
Okay, so I'll go back and reread AB 533, you said it was?
533.
Okay. And then as I look at capacity, used to be the model was 300 kids at an elementary, 750 for middle, and 1,500 for high school. Is that no longer a national standard? Is that, what do we construct for? And just out of curiosity. Sorry.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, Ms. Jean Kiliani. So our design, it's complicated, as we just saw and we just spoke about with the Sky Canyon Elementary School. That one we're planning a little bit larger because we know that the growth is going to
Yeah.
come in that area. What we would like to see, our ideal is that 638 seat capacity for our elementary schools. That's what we aim for. And I think to Mr. Filippo's comments earlier, so yes, those are more of a prototype. We're prototyping that type as a design. So we have a 638 and 850 design for these elementary schools, and we place them where are appropriate
growth
based
is.
on the growth or the school capacity or the school enrollment in the areas.
What I don't want to see is, because as we deal with student capacity, that we create a problem of increasing class sizes inadvertently because of the design, which is another factor.
Those are not mutually exclusive
didn't think so,
situations.
yeah.
So when we calculate capacity, the current capacity calculation, we actually calculate that capacity at a lower rate than schools are even able to
To
fund
accommodate, yeah.
for teachers.
Okay. Just so I didn't want us to do inadvertently, sometimes you can cause a classroom to go from 20 students, which is the goal, to 30, right? It depend on that part of, that's the background of my question is where it was coming from. So, all right, yeah, that makes some sense. And then back to the capacity, for example, for Helen J. It's 86 million for 200, and then I go to, new element, well, Sky Canyon's different. That growth area is insane out there, and don't even get me started. But on Helen J., part of that, I think that the price tag might be because it's such a unique school still with its ADA population that you have to make it different accommodations. Is that part of what drives some of your costs?
Sure, yes. Josh Chesnick for the record. Miss June Cigliani? How's that?
CH is
June
kill. Just
Kill?
think of me
June
going,
Cigliani? Ms. G? Yes, Helen Stewart is a specialized school with specialized student population. And so while that doesn't necessarily translate directly with the Sky Canyon model as far as the design of the school or the amenities that school has, that's why there's a differentiation between student capacity and project budget.
yeah, because there was a $10 million difference, but I figured ADA was driving most of that part of it. And then at Indian Springs, I know that I was reached out to by parents when Trustee Dominguez was running, and she had asked me to talk to them about some concerns with the theater and the student. I don't remember, I have to go back to my notes, but since this popped up, have those issues been resolved, or is that because you still have time because you're still in your design?
Yeah, we're still under design with this one.
Okay,
So.
so I would just urge that you work with them, because it was something about the theater, the gym, the lunchroom, it was more the outside buildings, not necessarily the classrooms, that the parents had some concerns about in the design. And that's why I think they're now going to be 29 is when it's intended for it to be constructed and seen rather
I'm
than
not sure when.
28 originally.
Not confident of when we're going
I
to start
read
construction of
weird
this one.
stuff, just, I'm sorry. I think it was supposed to be 28, now it's going to be 29, but that's fine. What you want to work out is the design issue long before you even get to that part, before you let it go to bid. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Chris. Do we have any, yes, Mr. Halsey?
Just something came up in my mind on your report on the solar. So every project is going to have
Mute
solar, and it's part of the
online,
hard
please.
bid?
Sorry, Mr. Halsey, we were getting some feedback from online, so if you're online, can you please mute? Thank you, Mr. Halsey.
Got it, Mr. Halsey. So the question was regarding solar is part of the hard bid. Yes, it's part of the hard bid.
Okay.
It's designed into the project.
And what happens, I know there's potential for the price of solar panels to skyrocket because of the material that's used in them. Is there if it's a hard bid, are the contractors hanging out there, or how does it work?
So there's a couple of different examples. So this particular case, it's a CMAR, construction manager at risk. And so we're going through the pre-construction services now, determining those project budgets. The contractor is supposed to escalate that as well, to keep that in mind. We do keep contingencies and allowances in the budget. If there's some unknown that we know we have solar, but it's really unknown at this time, we'll keep a contingency in there for that cost. So there are some tools that we have. If it's a hard bid project, there could potentially be a change order. But with the construction manager at risk, they're taking on some risk.
All right, and so that number that was in there for the price of a high school or middle school, that included the cost of the solar as well?
Yeah, that's including that price in the bid. Yep.
Thank you.
Union jobs, I wrote that bill.
Thank you, Mr. Halsey.
Could you
Thank
maybe briefly
Christy.
restate to everybody what CMAR is, because I don't know if everybody
Yeah,
understands.
sorry. Construction manager at risk. It's a qualification-based selection of a contractor versus like an open bid. So perhaps what we're more familiar with is the contractors come with their bid, they unseal the bid, lowest bid wins. Construction manager at risk is we qualify contract, we bid it out to basically advertisement. They present to us, and then we select based on qualifications on a panel. It does. It's construction manager. It's a guaranteed maximum price, so it's a GMP. So they're locking into that price. Again, we build in contingencies and allowances in that, but they're guaranteeing it won't go over that price. There are no change orders on a CMAR.
Do we make sure that they use licensed electricians through the union for the implement?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Yvette, did you raise your hand again, Ms. Williams?
I did.
Okay, over to Yvette, please.
So a couple things. One, I want to just reemphasize when we were talking about Prime 6, it wasn't necessarily about overcrowding. It was more about education equity and making sure that those students had access to a quality education, allowing those parents the opportunity to send their kids to a school where they could learn and have access to equity. So I just want to put that on the record so that we don't get confused by this becoming an issue because it still is an issue. And so some of the parents do choose to send their kids outside of that area because of lack of access. So I know that in my community, one of our school actually here in my community is zoned for Matt Kelly. Not Matt Kelly, I'm sorry, Mabel Hogard. We're zoned for those students. This is the school they actually are transported to. So I just want to make sure that we make sure that's on the record in our conversation today. But the other thing I had a question on was related to, we've had lots of conversations over the past years around land, and I know that came up. One of my colleagues mentioned Tobel in that land, and was there any plans for that yet? And I know that the answer was that not at this time. Are we planning, and maybe this is something we can just kind of bring up during future meetings, agenda items, and I guess I can wait till then, but definitely would like to look at that again, revisit that again on, what's the plan? What's being discussed, by our board as it relates to land that's available. So I can wait and bring that up during the, that agenda item. If unless you have something you can add to that.
No, I do. I just have a question for you, Member Williams, because I believe there was, at one point, there was like a master land management sort of document. Is that going to be a part of facility master planning where we're talking about land, or is that going to be a part of that conversation, or is it something where we need to have? 'Cause the reason why I'm asking is because I remember when one of my very first board meetings, we were asked as a body to recommend a sale to the Board of School Trustees. So that is a part of our policy where we are part of that decision-making process when it comes to selling of land. And at the time, there was references in our policies to land management policy and goals. I don't know if that's ever been revised, if that's part of facility master plan, or if it means that there needs to be an update of sort of a land management plan.
That's kind of a question for you all. We're looking for some, I'm
Right,
looking
yeah,
for
no,
some.
Mr. Baldwin was, sorry, you can't see me. Hi, Mr. Baldwin was about to answer.
I can't see anybody up there, it's so tiny.
Madam Chair, I don't believe that our land inventory is necessarily part of facility master plan, but is not unrelated. So that's a complicated question. And it all gets very complicated as we begin to look at what projects may be planned as part of the facility master plan and options we need to leave available in the future to execute some of those plans.
So my question, I'll go back to my question then. Then is this something then that I need to ask to be added to the agenda when that agenda item comes up later then? Because it sounds like you really don't have any information for us.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to put that more towards the agenda item, Ms. Williams.
Okay, then I'll wait for that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have anything else?
No, that was it.
Okay. Do we have anybody else on the panel?
Yes, sorry about that. I was
Oh.
late. I was in another meeting. This is Walter.
Oh, hello, Mr. Jones. Please let the record
Hello,
show
happy
that Mr.
holidays.
Jones has joined us.
So I was listening. I came in late because I was in another meeting. I was listening to. They were saying about the bid that's going out to certain contractors that they're looking at. But one of my concerns that I have been asking for a while is, are we doing anything to try to get more minority contractors involved in school district work? Because lately we've been having the same contractors: Martin Harris, Penta, Sletton, Raphael. So my concern is what I've been getting a lot of phone calls on is minority participants to help some of these guys get in here and get a piece of this money that's coming out from the school district.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Mr. Jones, Josh Chesnick for the record. Yes, so we have pre-qualified contractors that we keep on a list. We do require that contractors are fully bonded for projects. So for example, if it's a $1 million project, that contractor needs to have a surety bond for at least $1 million. So, and we have varying sizes of projects, all the way from our, like we've seen today, replacement schools, all the way down to minor construction projects. And so that would be the first thing, is to have, we have open pre-qualification of contractors throughout the district, or throughout the county, actually. If you're licensed and you can get bonded, you can perform work for the Clark County, pre-qualified, and do work for the Clark County School District.
Well, these companies that's been calling me, they're all licensed and bonded. It's the process that they've been going to get on the bidders list for the school district. And what I'm looking at is you have a lot of these major players that's bidding these jobs. And what I'm asking is there some kind of stipulation that we can put in here to help some of these small minority-owned companies to do jobs with these bigger companies that's doing work for the school district? You got to realize a lot of money school district is spending out, and it needs to start being some kind of stipulations to help some of these small contractors to get in on the school district jobs too. They are licensed and bonded.
Correct, and it goes to what their license and bonding capacity is. So their license is also going to have a capacity, have a restriction on it, a limit. And so, yeah, we do try to encourage smaller contractors to get their foot in the door, understand our processes, and they, over time, if their company grows, they can get those larger projects.
Okay, well, I know from previous experience, only thing I'm saying is that maybe there's something that we need to bring to the board or to the superintendent, where it needs to start being some stipulations to these bigger companies to bring in some smaller companies as far as subs, to give them the opportunity.
Oh, sure.
To help out, to bid on, to help them grow too. That's all. That's the question that I'm asking.
Yeah, understood. So there's two things here with general contractors and subcontractors, right? So general contractors, yes, licensed bonded. The subcontractors, they also have to have the license limit capacity, but we don't bond subs.
Well, no, reason why I'm asking, because I remember when Chris G was the county commissioner.
Oh, look at that.
The county had some stipulations in there where the larger contractors had to reach out to minority-owned small business as a sub to bring in to help them. They wasn't asking them to help them as far as bonding. It was more of getting them familiar with doing work with larger contractors. And Chris G can answer that question because they had some stipulations in their bids for when she was a county commissioner.
We've been
Thank
having.
you, thank you, Walter. This is Chris, and
Hold on just a second,
You're absolutely
Yvette.
correct. I'm sure we can gather that information. We did it through our business licensing. We would do training, and then we would help them bid. But we did require the generals had to have a certain number of subs that were minority-based or DBE women-owned businesses so that they could begin to break in. It's kind of like what NDOT does. And I did that law 20 years ago, but all they think is women can only stand there and hold a flag. There's a whole bunch of other stuff we could do, but they met their threshold of hiring a sub because they had that. I don't want to see that game start, but I think Walter brings up a good point, is how do we grow or at least assure that minority and women-owned businesses are at least able to compete within the Slettons and the Martin Harrises, that they have to bring in a certain number of those as pre-qual. Because you're right, many are not going to qualify as a general, was it a class A or B? What do you need for a general? I don't even remember, but one of those classes. And then your subs don't have to have the specialized bonding, but they do have to have certain pre-quals that come in. So maybe it's just time to take a look at just how do we do that bid and how do we assure that we're bringing in at least our minority contractors to participate in parts of it. So if I'm doing glazing, okay, then I can do X. If I'm doing flooring, that doesn't all have to be Sletton, right, or something along those lines. I think that's where Walter was going.
Sure. And Mr. Jones, I've been reminded of a presentation that was given in February of 2023 for minority participation. And currently we have about 20 to 25% minority participation in our large projects.
Yeah, but it's been given, but it's not given to the general contract. It's not something, and I'm saying this because I'm saying it from experience as a contractor.
Yeah.
It haven't been presented to these, okay, like say for instance, when Chris G was a county commissioner, the main thing they had in their contracts was you get a certain percentage if you're using the minority sub. So it was more like you got a point. You got certain points that you receive in order to win this job. So if a bidder that bid at this job didn't participate in it, and then that bidder that participated in it, well, he automatically gets that job. It's a 5 to 10% bidder preference. So what I'm asking is something that we need to try to look into, because when you have the same contractors that's not participating in these programs to help small minority-owned men and women business, and it's basically leaving them out. And these are taxpayer dollars and bonds.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I believe, Mr. Chestnut, correct me if I'm wrong, those bid advantages still are in existence or not?
Yeah, we do have preference. For example, licensed contractor in the state of Nevada, there's a preference there. I'm not terribly familiar with all the preferences that are available, but we have preferences.
What I'd like to do, Mr. Jones, and because this is a much larger topic, and especially without Brendan being here, I've already had it on my notes that we wanted to go over the RFP process, including the ways in which CCSD reaches out and the ways in which a contractor goes through that process. Given that that is a part of that conversation, I'd love to be able to open that up into a more broader focused conversation at a later meeting in order to answer those questions and really be able to dive into that topic. Is that something that would, well, when we get to agenda items, is that something that you think you would support? Mr. Jones?
Walter, do you want a future agenda item where we can discuss this more robustly?
I think he might have gotten on another call.
Oh, okay.
I heard someone trying to talk to him while there was some conversation. So I think maybe he might be distracted right now. But I would support that agenda in his absence. So I would be happy to bring that up as an issue.
No, I think it takes a lot further conversation than is than now and this time. Did you have something else you wanted to bring up, Ms. Williams?
Yes, I did. It's very concerning to me because we spent a lot of time around this issue. And you and I, when you were in the role that I'm in now as liaison, we attended many meetings and pushed towards the board adopting a plan. So there was a whole plan around equity, diversity, and inclusion that the board approved, and we're still waiting over 2 years now, probably. And I understand. I think the reason I've been a little bit more understanding is with our current federal administration and some of the restrictions that they have instituted for our education institutions. And so I'm trying to be a little more understanding to that. But that plan was approved. The board had approved it. We're supposed to already be implementing a plan around this whole issue. and we haven't gotten
Yes.
there yet. So
Yes.
I'm not, excuse me, Walter, let me finish.
I think he's still
I'm
talking.
not-
Mr. Jones, can you just
I'm
pause,
I think
please?
my phone cut off, but yes.
I'm
Okay.
not interested.
Yes, we can just,
Mr. Jones, can you please mute for the moment? Thank you. Okay.
I'm not interested in rehashing this thing again. This took us years to get to the place where the board finally developed a plan. And so I think we should be looking at when we have our joint meeting with our trustees again, that be an agenda item that we bring up. You know, how do we move forward? Is that plan now, you know, what's the next action item around that plan that the previous board had approved? Because that's never come back up and no one's disapproved it. No one said, well, we're not going to do that. So I just don't understand. I'm not interested in going around in circles, chasing our tails around this. We need to, follow through with all the effort, all the work, all the time, and money in doing all this research, hired a contractor to put a plan together, all of these things. And we're here now back at a beginning, so at a starting point. I'm not interested in that at all. That's my comments around that. And I feel very strongly about that. And disappointed, actually, quite honestly, that we're having to have this conversation again.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. And I think because I know that we did a lot of work with this in terms of the Nevada Contractors Diversity Council. I know that we have had several conversations around this, including meetings with people about having these subcontractors working with these general contractors, as well as the presentations that CORE and others have made to this committee on their representation in their subcontracting areas. I would have to refresh my memory on exactly what plan that we had, because then my suggestion would be, rather than, because I don't remember something that was approved by the Board of School Trustees, so I want to get with you and find out exactly what that is, because then I think as we have a future agenda item, it can be a report on how well those goals were achieved, so that it isn't starting over, it is the oversight on what was already decided.
Sounds great. That sounds perfect. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Williams. Do we have any other comment? Mr. Gerson?
Thank you. Also pertinent to the subject of 206. In fact, this might have been lost just because of the time it took, but I wanted to support or bring some information to Christy on the square foot per person, just if it's supportive. So CEFP is the Council of Education Facility Planners International. It's basically educators, builders, designers. It's a pretty comprehensive group that helps write programming for a lot of districts. For elementary school, their average is 125 square feet to 155 square feet per student. Middle school is about 170 to 200 square feet per student. And in high school is about 200 to 320 square feet per student.
Thank you, very helpful. I think
that's
they
just
incorporate all the programming. It's not just a kid in the classroom is what they're speaking to.
Correct, yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
And then
What's the name of that organization again, Mr.?
It's CEFPI, CEFPI. It's a Council of Educational Facility Planners, International.
Thank you, Mr. Gerson.
Yep. And then also just going back to some supportive data on daylighting. I've had much personal experiences working on schools, whether they're public or private, but LEED, leadership of environmental and energy design is a big, awesome, thank you. That's a great reference, and also not that the schools are held to becoming LEED certified, but it's a really good guideline to be used. But also tying into Mr. Hesley's comment about solar, there's a it's an interesting organization. It's called the New Building Institute, and what they do is they look at daylighting pattern. It's a guideline, and what they do is they look at not only how daylighting helps biological or learning through biological enhancement, but also it looks at energy. So the moment that we can daylight a space and we can use less of these nuclear isotopes that are, raining down fluorescent lighting on us. You save energy, but also from a mechanical standpoint, depending on the heat that's gained in certain areas and the movement of airflow, you can actually reduce energy loads or energy design requirements. So, and then just the last part was more of a question. Just looking at the schools, it makes sense that the buildings that are for middle school design, roughly about $100,000 per student. That's just a quick metric in here. And then for the ones that are being in design or projects in design, it looked pretty steady. Looked pretty steady to that. There was 3 that stood out, but I think a lot of them were fleshed out in the earlier conversations. One was Indian Springs. I mean, the remote nature might be a hardship on manpower, which is the largest cost of delivery. The other one was Helen J. Stewart, which you had a good question earlier there, Chris G, about its nature of it's mainly for accessibility. So a lot of money went to accessibility, which is to be applauded. So that's fantastic. The one I wanted to see if you could, Mr. Chesnick could help me understand, or staff could help me understand more is, and I went to this elementary school and I'm all support for it, but Matt Kelly. Matt Kelly is about $186,000 per student compared to the others, which is roughly about over $100,000 to $115,000 per student on average. Just wanted to see what the design, or I should say the influences that might bring it to a higher dollar per student for that facilities.
Josh Chesnick for the record. Mr. Gerson, first, CEPI has been rebranded as A4LE, Association for Learning Environments. We, Clark County School District, myself, Brandon McLaughlin, we are active participants in the local chapter, as well as participating nationally and regionally in that association. So good cross-references for our colleagues in learning environment.
That just aged me.
What's that?
That just aged me.
Oh, did it? Yeah, CEPI. Yeah. So that, anyway, I just wanted to state that for the record as well. As far as the student capacity versus cost and kind of what that looks like, I mean, there's, and I guess I need to ask the question: is 410 the student capacity at? That's what we're building to the capacity of, or is that the capacity that's the current enrollment of the school? Current capacity. Got it. Current capacity.
Current capacity. Okay.
Yeah. So we can keep some of those numbers in mind, right, as we're designing and going through these projects.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Allen.
Sorry to add one more question after sitting here for a few minutes. This is a different question about how we determine the cost for Helen Stewart. More so, are we, like, did a corporation like KGA or Slutton tell you that this is what we need to do for this school? Or did you talk to like Pam Jackson, the principal, the teachers, the students, the parents? Are they responding to the meetings or surveys and things? Like, how did we actually determine what needs to be done for this school? Since this is still in project, yeah, it's still a project, or in design. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, did some group of people say, this is what we should do? Or are we actually getting input from the people who use this school and know this school better than everybody else? What actually is needed, so we're not just throwing money at stuff that maybe they don't even need or care about, or use.
Sure. Good question, Ms. Allen. Josh Chesnick for the record. Yeah, with Helen J. Stewart, through all those design meetings, we involved the principal and the staff. We make sure the architect was very familiar with the existing facility, its operation, and what was needed in the new school. There was another question in there with regard to who came up with the cost for this. Our cost estimates are third party. So we have a third party that helps us provide cost estimates for these projects.
How present, or how many community members were present at the meetings where you were getting input on what was necessary for students in that community? And also another question, sorry, what qualifications did either company have in designing a special school for students who may have mobility needs or accommodations, things like that?
Sure. Again, Ms. Allen, Josh Chesnick for the record. We did programming with a consultant on that one, worked directly with the principal. So there was, I can't speak to the community input and what was involved in that, but we were very engaged. We hired, again, an independent third-party programmer to help us with program that. As far as the architect and their familiarity, I can't speak specifically to KGA and their experience in this type of facility, although they do other sort of medical and educational facilities, and so that experience as an architect probably assisted with that as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Do we have any other comments from the dais? Make a note, please, that Mr. Lopez had to leave for a meeting. Thank you. I had just a couple of things. One, with these openings, I know this was a conversation before, but especially with ones that are prototypes, if the Bond Oversight Committee can attend those openings or at least see a tour of those schools, I think it's helpful to know what kind of facility comes out of the decision-making that happens here. And especially as they are prototypes, being able to see how this design is going to be implemented across the valley is useful. A question, with the delay that the Board of School Trustees approved last year, I'm assuming the rest of these projects sort of are being included in the facility master planning process, and we've excluded what needed to be excluded in order for the facility master planning process to be as fruitful as possible, but this list reflects all of those adjustments in terms of timing and whatnot, that we're not committing to something that might not fit in with decisions being made for facility master planning.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, no, these planned projects are still those that were approved during revision 6. And once we bring revision 7 and the facility master plan forward, that may alter some of these and other planned plans that were approved in revision 6.
Okay, so the ones that were on that first part of the list, those are already in construction and done, but basically anything from design forward could still be altered by facility master planning processes.
If it was in design, it remained in design until it's removed.
Okay. And then that actually leads into my final question when it comes to the major and comprehensive modernization projects. Are all of these in around the same spot when it comes to completion? Or, because I know we talked about like design, but these are modernization projects. So most of these are in completion or already under construction, correct? Or done?
Correct. The ones that are wrapping up, finishing, or 99%, I didn't include in this presentation. But these are the ones that are still under construction. Yep. Okay. And I believe they'll be finishing up for this coming school year.
Okay. And then you talked about 638 and 850 being the prototype size for elementary. Do you have the numbers for middle school and high school as well for prototype size?
For middle schools, we have a 1250 and 1500.
Okay. And then high school?
Comprehensive high school, 2700.
27. Okay.
We're the largest in the United States, but just saying.
Yeah. All right, then. I had no further questions. Did anybody else? Okay, we're moving on from 2.06. We'll move on to 2.07. This is a discussion item. And this is if you'll look at it, you have a draft of a recommendation to the Board of School Trustees. The intent behind this is to provide more clarity as we make these recommendations to the Board of School Trustees, that we reference the bylaw area where it is applicable and also are clear about what we are recommending. As this is a discussion item, I wasn't going to go through these each one by one. It is a tool for us as the executive committee to also be able to use, but if there are suggestions of changes or things like that, we can hear them now. Yes, Chris.
Thank you. I thought it was a good idea. It'll help us process. It'll help the trustees. It'll help staff. Just on the committee vote, divided, I would just say, what was the vote, or something along
Okay.
those lines, just as more synopsis on it. Other than that, I thought it was a good idea.
Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns?
What about like a point of contact, like whoever might have initiated the idea or whatever for more information or something like that?
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, fabulous. We will move on from 2.07 to 2.08. We have future agenda items. I've already got Chris raising a hand. Just so that you know what I've already written down for myself is where we have the, well, actually.
That's what I was going to
Okay, okay, Chris is going to update us.
What we just discussed was the minority DBE preference incorporating in bids. So we know, I don't know what the plan was that Ms. Williams was discussing, so if there's something out there, but I thought we agreed to at least wrap that up. Secondary land management and parcel availability, we were speaking to earlier, and now your recommendation template should go on at some point for approval. And you don't need to do with that?
No, we don't
Oh,
need
then
to
don't
deal with
even
that
worry about
because
that.
it's
Okay.
just a.
That's what I jotted notes about. so
Okay,
far.
I had those two. Did we have other items that people wanted to bring up? Anyone
Well,
online?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I was particularly concerned about the land management or those, an update on that report that we haven't really heard much about from that previous, I don't know if it was it was more than a presentation because they kind of had, it was more like a recommended plan. And we had a lot of conversations around that, if I recall. But anyway, I just want to make sure that in our motion for that, that we are sure to include any information that any of the members want to make sure is included in that report. We need to be kind of specific about what we're asking them to provide an update on. So I just want to be mindful of that. And then in relation to Walter's concern, which I'm sure we're all concerned about, considering the amount of work that we put into that over the years. I thought that you had mentioned, Madam Chair, that you wanted to have some further conversations so that we can place it in the agenda appropriately. Is that not what I heard? Am I
Yeah, and
misunderstanding?
my intent is that because we were able, as the executive committee, to request that agenda item was to be able to speak with you, get clarification on that, so that when we clarify that for staff and for a future agenda item, that we have the right information.
Yeah.
But
So
since I
maybe-
can't phrase that right now, I
Yeah.
have these as, I'm keeping them a little bit more generic so that we can clarify as part of the agenda setting process.
Okay, so let me
with
make
staff.
sure I'm following you. So then for this sake of this conversation, we are, our intention is to make a motion around these two items, but generalize them, and then we will then further with the idea that we're going to have further discussion so that we're sure to have what we're asking staff to do at our next meeting. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, I mean, I think we're going to be able to have, if we make these a general thing, and then as part of the agenda process that the executive
Okay.
committee undergoes with staff, we will further
Fine-tune it.
clarify that,
Kind of
so that,
fine-tune it.
not that we have to, I don't want to have another meeting that,
Okay.
that brings up a specific language.
Okay.
I'm trusting that the general language gives us enough direction to then set this as an agenda item that we
Okay.
vote on, that we actually have on the agenda versus taking
Okay.
another step.
I got you.
That
I just want to
squabbles
make
over
sure
language.
that, I just want to make sure that when I make my motion, that I make it to your liking.
Well, to that end, I mean, Chris, would you like to make the motion, Ms. Williams?
No, Chris can make the motion. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that.
All right, Chris, would
I
you like
just
to
wanna
make the
make
motion?
sure that- I just want to make sure that
Hold on,
what I'm.
before we make a, sorry, before we make a motion, do we have any public comment on future agenda items? We do not. Okay, thank you. I will now entertain, do we have any further discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear and everyone else is clear on what we're doing.
Yeah, well, we'll find out pretty soon. Chris, why don't we go ahead and make a motion?
I think it's clear as mud, but I think what we're doing is recommending agenda items. It was to wrap up or enclose what your DBE minority preference program is. How do you incorporate it into bids? Have you looked at the county's percentage issue that Mr. Jones brought up? That should be one discussion item. Land availability, land management, parcel availability as a secondary one, if I didn't, unless I missed something there. And that's what I had. So that would be my motion. Go
And
ahead.
Chris, let's make sure too, in that land thing that we talk, evaluations as well.
And evaluations of?
And valuations, land valuations.
Valuations.
Value.
Okay,
yeah.
so you want to
Value.
include BLM,
Value
because a lot of
yeah.
our parcels are all, most of ours
So
are
this is
BLM.
starting to get a little unwieldy.
So BLM, break it down by BLM and then by private valuation. How's that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because there were quite a number of them that were private.
Well, we tried to require developers had to, well, they're supposed to give us land, but they modified it and they give us crappy land. And so it costs us a ton more on infrastructure and a variety of other things. So I don't know if that's been changed or not, but that adds to.
But Chris, serving, on the on the Spring Valley Town Advisory Board, we tried so hard to get these developers to give us land for our schools. We could never successfully do that. So I'm quite surprised when you say that the county had that in their provisions because their regulations.
No, the county did not. We did it statutorily in Carson City in the 90s, but I haven't looked at that law in a gazillion years. And I don't know that I know we didn't get as far as what we wanted to require, but there was some verbiage.
Let's take these one at a time. I'd like to make them a little bit more general because I feel like they started to get I think we risk perhaps leaving out something if we get too into the weeds. So we can vote on these separately. So I will make, so we have a motion on the table. Are you willing to amend it to where we have the motion be regarding the RFP process and how it specifically affects DBE businesses and subcontracting?
Sure, that's my motion.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to do right now. So
Motion would
I'd
be
like
to
amend
add
that
to the
motion.
agenda. Yeah, she's going to amend my original to modify it by stating, go ahead.
The RFP process and how it affects DBE subcontracting.
Excuse me, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Then we would need to have another item because I would like for that plan that the results of because there was a report given to the board as a result of all of this. So all of that work had been done. And then there was a report given to the trustees. And then, so where we're left right now is the trustees basically giving instruction as to, okay, so now this is what we're going to do as a result of what that what do you call it? Contract consultant found and what those results were and what the plan is going to be. So we're I want to just make sure that we go back to the work that's already been done.
Right, so that's why I use the word review.
Okay, good.
Do you not consider that enough of a?
No, that's fine. I didn't hear
inclusion
review.
of that?
Madam Chair, Ms. Williams, I'm sorry, I don't know what plan you're speaking of, so it's hard for me to reference that. So was there something done in 23 or 24 that culminated from this discussion of RFPs, bids, minority contractors, DBEs, so forth, that went to the trustees and was adopted by them?
Yes, so what they adopted as a result of our conversation, as a result of our committee work, our recommendation was to do a diversity, equity, inclusion review for facilities, and then they extended that or expanded it to a bigger process, bigger than just facilities. But there were specific I don't know how I want to word this. There was specific outcomes that was identified as a result of that investigation or that work. And so then what we are waiting for, so all that has been done, all that work, all that research, all that, what we're talking about rehashing or hearing again, that has all been done. So I think if we review that work, right, that was presented to the
Are you
board of-
talking about the disparity study?
Yes, thank you.
The disparity study.
Disparity study.
Thank you, that helps. I
why
don't even know
couldn't I
what that
think-
is, but okay.
Yeah,
That
I don't know
helps, so
why I
we could
couldn't
review
think of-
that
I don't know
report.
why I could not think of the term.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry, because as far as I knew, there wasn't a prescriptive plan, but that I do remember that there was a disparity study. And so.
And that's where we're at. So where we're at now, that was approved by the board to do this disparity study. That disparity study was done. That
Correct.
report was provided to the Board of Trustees.
Correct.
And that's where we have fallen down.
Right.
So we don't have, because so much was going on that year with JARA and all of that, that they never got back to getting that on the agenda, on their agenda, to approve an action plan. So where we're at right now in that process is going back to the trustees for an action plan.
Okay, so if we review that, where we are with this board and with this action plan, we can also provide a recommendation to the Board of School Trustees.
Yes.
So reviewing so I'm going back, we're still in a motion. So amending this motion to reviewing the RFP process with an eye towards the disparity study and DBE subcontracting.
Yes.
You
Walter,
accept
are you
that?
I
on the
accept that
phone?
as amendment to my motion.
You don't have it, okay. Got it.
I don't know if Walter's still on the call or not. He might have something. I don't know.
I'm right here.
Okay, thank you. I
I'm
got
right
it.
here.
Okay, so with this, I'm recommending a revised motion that Chris has accepted, that we review you use the RFP, correct? The request for proposals process. With an eye towards the disparity study.
Should we say previously?
No, because it existed as the disparity study.
Okay.
And, well, DBE is another disability, but it's MWDBE. It's the Minority Women Disability Owned Enterprises, I believe, is what it stands for. Subcontracting. Got it, thank you. Okay. That is the
So
motion.
to be minority disadvantaged business enterprise.
Disadvantaged, there it is.
Yes,
Not
disadvantaged.
disability, disadvantaged. Thank you for the correction, Mr. Jones.
But we added women.
Disadvantaged. All right. That is the motion, that is the amended motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, hearing none. So now we go back to Chris.
Okay, I'll try a second motion that we incorporate into an agenda item, a report on existing land management availability, parcel availability, BLM, Bureau of Land Management availability, as well as any private sector for the purposes of school construction.
Do we need to add
Demographics would be-
value or that? Do we need to add value or would that be included? in
And
that?
valuation, any accommodating valuation, whatever that means. I'm not really sure myself. Rick,
Yeah.
do you want to?
Madam
Mr.
Chair, members of
Baldwin.
the commission, the valuation portion I specifically have challenges with because it would not be suitable for us to get every piece of parcel that we have in inventory assessed and appraised.
Could there be an estimated value?
In 26
Just so we know
numbers,
it's
but what would that,
So
what do
we
we
know if
want?
it's $10 or
What is our
$10 million?
concern? Are we looking just at vacant land that's available for school construction if there's no BLM property available? I think that's what we're discussing.
So large enough to accommodate a school.
Correct.
So some of our very small parcels, you're not concerned about.
No, in my opinion, no.
I mean,
It's those that would or could be a future, well, your demographics, people.
I'm interested in both, and this is why. Because when this report was given to us before, there was a lot of conversations around other uses of that land. For example, a tutoring center. You know, we're looking at with our master plan that our superintendent is currently working on. They're looking at all kind of different unique and innovative things. And so, is there land out there that we can use for other purposes? You know, and some of those conversations that we had were around, like, people had brought up ideas like tutoring centers. We brought up like CTE kind of programs that were specialized, and there was all kind of other innovative and creative ideas that these committee members had come up with, that previous to a lot that are on the committee now, and so I just don't want us to lose, you know, that intellectual information as we begin to talk about, because we're now in the process of a plan for both
of this facility master plan
and for education.
So Ms. Williams, because
I think it's important that we look at those assets.
Ms. Williams, because we have a site and facility planning liaison, can we explore some of this conversation through that liaison role first before requesting a report being brought to the full committee?
Yeah, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Mr. Flatt, is that something that you are
able to do?
Able to pursue?
I might be able to. Dave Flatt, for the record, I might be able to try and help on that.
So I'd like to get some more clarity on this before I put this before the full board. I'm sorry, Ms. Sakard, you had your hand up. Did you want to add something?
My question is, are we getting into an area that does not pertain to what our committee is?
Well, so site selection is a part of our committee, and that was a part of it. It's a liaison role.
But land evaluations and such like that?
Well, land management is there was a provision that was a part of that, because any land management planning document becomes a part of facility planning more grandly. But I think we might be able to get to some of these questions through liaison work. And if so, then we have an idea of what actually needs to be brought to a full committee. Because I feel like it's a little too amorphous right now for us to really nail it down effectively. So I would love if that is something that we can work on through Mr. Flatt and our liaison role.
So with that, I'll just withdraw my comments from earlier, wanting to have that as an agenda item.
Okay, do we have any other comments or questions about that?
I'm just going to ask a simple question. You do have a map of all the BLM parcels that are out there, right? Your demographic department's going to have that as they look at that component.
Madam President, Ms. June Giuliana, yes. I oversee the real property management. We have extensive databases of all of our
Maybe David could work with you on that
properties.
part, and at least we use that as a basis to work from.
More than willing to work with Mr. Flatt to review that.
Thank you.
Okay, I approve of that versus having, I think I'm good with that. Do we have any other comments, questions, concerns? All right, we'll move on from 2.08, go to 3.01, a public comment period. This is a general public comment for any items that were not action items on the agenda. Do we have any public comment? Okay, thank you so much. So then I'm going to move to item number 4, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes, I'd make that motion.
Let the record show that Chris G made that motion. Mr. Halsey seconded that motion. All approved, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 1:15.
Thank you.